Last time on Overunder. The bartender returns to you, Marcus, and he sets another glass on the counter. And he says, "You're gonna want to try the house special." Are we gonna start a conference call here?
We're gonna start a conference call!
God.
So, I have brought you into what is basically a telepathic link.
What the hell are you talking about, boy?
You attempt to put your hand on Edward's shoulder, but your hand goes clean through.
Oh. Oh no.
See Mind Link after the conversation where they discover that they are all three. Thomas has said nothing up until this point. Are here for the same reason. So right now it's Thomas, Joseph, Edward, and Marcus all in the bar. Edward then has to tries to teach Joseph how to talk telepathically. Then the booming voice of God tuned in, which was in fact, behind the scenes we know that was not who that was. Let's see. The scene ended with Joseph, who did not believe the voice was actually God, and tried to put a hand on Edward, only to realize that he, in fact, could not. And so now you are faced with you are facing a rather large conundrum there, Mr. Joseph. So. We need to figure out where the heck Mr. Walker and Mr. Cleric have been. Final, you missed last week, so you were kind of just out there, and then Cleric was a little tied up. Mr. John Walker.
Yes.
So the last thing you did was talk to the stable hand about Xavier. And then you proceeded from there to kind of continue to explore the town. What all did you do?
I'm assuming this is what happened while everything else was going on for the last episodes?
Yes, correct.
Well, in that case, I would probably go to the other stable if he didn't notice anything and check in with them, at least.
Okay. That's cool.
Because at this point, I don't know about the wanted poster. So I'm still looking for him.
Okie dokie. Let's see.
Out of curiosity, if I find out that he's wanted, I mean, technically I'm a preacher. So, would it be worth it to just be like, nah, he isn't getting my help if he's an outlaw, and just leave town?
I mean, could you do that?
And that's how
Yes.
we left the session.
Could you do that? Yes. Would you leave the campaign? Yes. No, I'm kidding.
Make a new character.
The borders of town are surrounded by beholders. You won't get far.
True.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying I
What
could.
shadow walkers on the edge of
Not
town
very forgiving
swallowing
for
up?
men of God.
The Shadow Walker
Shadow Walker.
back, boy. Get the space gun.
God. Okay. Okay. You head to the other stable, which is the Pondside stable, which is over on the direct other
Yes.
side of town.
Yes.
And you are greeted by the same man that you just talked to. Well,
that's
howdy,
strange.
mister. How are you doing today? I don't think I've ever seen you around here before.
I just, and I point back to the door. I just saw you at the other stable.
You're talking about my twin brother. You talking about Alan. Don't worry about him. He's probably still over there. He probably fell asleep. I'm Alex.
Or,
And he sticks out his hand for a shake.
good to meet you, and I shake it.
What can I do you for, sir? It sounds like you already put up your horse.
Well, you see, I'm looking for a man name of Xavier. He'd be walking around with a big broadsword on his back.
Immediately his demeanor changes, and he kind of draws in a quick breath and bites his lip and he says, last name?
I can't remember. Do I know his last name?
He would have told you.
Whatever his last name is, I tell the man. Because I don't remember in real life.
That's the you need to go find that, my good sir. And you should.
Hey, it's
know
on the
that.
letter.
It is on the letter.
Where's the letter? Xavier Caliburn.
There's something you might want to see, mister. And he walks over to the wall, kind of on the outside. He walks out the door, actually, and to the you entered in from like you would have come in down Pond Street, so he goes to the left of the door, which was practically like a couple extra feet away at an angle that you couldn't see. But he pulls the barn door away a little bit and takes a poster off of the side of the stable, and he hands it to you, and it's a copy of the wanted poster. So, are you a bounty hunter?
Not quite. How long has he been wanted?
These posters just got put up, I think it was like early yesterday. And then there was something about it in the paper today. But this is all really recent.
I don't suppose that he happened to drop a horse off here anytime recently, did he?
Not recently. The last time I saw him around town was December, something like that. In that that ballpark of time. Yeah, Christmas. Christmas was the last time I saw him.
So you have no idea where he is then?
Not a lick.
All right. Do you happen to know who might know where he is?
He scratches his chin and looks out at the setting sun that's getting ready to go over the horizon. He says, "Who would know? Who would know?" There are a couple people who might. I didn't really know the man. He was nice to me, and he was nice to Alan. So that's all that really mattered to me. But I tell you what, the barkeep at the tap house typically sees most people that come in and out of town simply because of his location. The tap house is over on Main Street, just in case you hadn't seen it yet. For as often as he's in his library, the librarian seems to know quite a few people. He's a really nice guy. The postman might know, but other than that, oh, he snaps his fingers and he says, "You know, given how he's got that giant sword, I bet that he stopped in at, what's the name of that place?" He taps his head and kind of trusts, like he's trying real hard to remember. The castle. The castle. That's what the name of that place is. It's the castle. It's should be towards the north.
The north side of town. I saw it on my way through.
Yeah. They have for some reason that couple in there that own the place and run the place, they're really into swords, and I bet you dollars that Xavier stopped in there, especially if he's got, like you said, a big broadsword on his back.
Awesome. I will head up there and check. Thank you.
He nods and says, "Anytime, mister, anytime."
And I walk up the door toward the castle.
Cool. On your way, I need you to roll plus wisdom.
15.
Success.
And I will
You
send a
are...
screenshot.
You're good.
Okay.
No, I need the screenshot. Give me the evidence. What's in the box?
A duck.
A duck's in the box. That's quackers.
Real quackery element.
I thought the cat was in the box.
No, the
I thought
cat's
it
in the
was Frosty
bag.
Flakes.
No, the cat's in the hat.
The cat's in the bag.
The cat's in a hat in a bag.
Well, no, if a cat's in a hat, then you let it out of the bag, and that's not good.
No, that's
Ate all
of you.
Wait, what did Creed say?
he said he hates all of us, which I mean is par for the course. So I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just how he shows his appreciation of us.
You see a flash of
sure.
multicolored light, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. You see a flash of multicolored light as you walk by, and we'll address whether or not you address it later. Let's see. Speaking of multicolored light, Cleric.
Oh yes, Black to the Blind Man was affected by a flashbang.
Yes, it was magical in nature, so don't.
That doesn't make sense.
A magical flashbang that affects magic people?
I don't have eyes.
Yes, you do. They just don't work.
No, I straight up don't have eyes.
Since when did you remove your eyeballs?
It wasn't intentional, and I didn't do it.
Yes, you did. You wrote your own character, boy.
Yeah,
Therefore,
but
you
Cleric
removed your
removed
own
his
eyeballs.
I removed my character's eyeballs. I still have my eyeballs.
That's good. I'd be kind of concerned if you didn't have eyeballs. Okay. All right. So you were affected heavily by some form of magic, and you wake up hogtied an undisclosed amount of time later, suspended, and a child is kind of standing off to the side and on the floor, obviously not on the table or anything like that. But he's standing off to the side, twirling a wooden stick, I guess, or some kind of implement through his fingers that appears to be about 12 inches long, and he is looking up at you expectantly to see if you'll say anything.
I will say something.
What will you say?
Kind of just quote unquote look him up and down. And you said he was a younger version of the man I saw locking up, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, then I will continue with Jert of Americanats. You are a librarian, yes?
Sure, mister. We'll go with sure.
And need local history and topography maps.
Excuse me? I can't seem to get past the accent.
Local history book. And map.
So let me get this straight. You broke into a library in the middle of the night for local history notes and a map.
Da.
Why?
Because you're not open at night. Why else?
Why? I don't know. Why don't you just wait until the daytime like every other person?
I am busy.
I
I
see.
need information now.
I see. So, mister, you're clearly not from around here, so I think I need to kind of give you the rundown on how all this works. This is a library, and it is illegal to take things from the library without checking them out first. Therefore, if you break into a building after it's closed, that's technically we call that breaking and entering here in the United States and its territories, and that's illegal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the sheriff, unless you can give me some reason to let you down and not report you to the authorities.
I
And
don't really care who you report me to, son. I still need a local history book and a map. And to be fair, I never said I was taking them. I said I needed to see them. In case you misunderstood me with the accent.
it is kind of hard to get around that accent. He kind of grins a little bit and he says, "You have a Russian accent. Why are you here?"
Personal business. Look, if it was unimportant, I obviously would not be on a time schedule. But here I am on a time schedule in a fucking library at night time. So if you need to go report me. Cut me down from here. I'm not leaving the building.
A curious smile grows across his face. He says, "Why are you on a timetable, mister?"
Why are you asking questions I don't care to answer?
Well, you see, I have I have a friend that's fallen into a spot of trouble, and so I myself am on a timetable, and I really don't have time to deal with burglars personally.
Once again, I did not come here to steal. I came here for information. Do you seriously need me to spell it out? Or do you not understand simple English?
Well, if I asked you to spell it out, you might spell it in the wrong language. He gives you a snarky smile, and then he waves the piece of wood around in the air, and the rope around you loosens, and you nimbly drop to the floor without a problem. It's only like a few feet, so it's not much of an issue. And he says, "History sections that way." And he nods past you down an aisle, and you see a little tab sticking out of the out of one of the aisles, and it says local history. He says, "Why are you on a timetable? And why do you need information so badly?"
If you want to be successful and productive in life, you keep yourself on schedule. Now go tell a cop or whatever. I'm gonna walk towards the local history.
He smiles and he shakes his head and pushes the chair and tables back to where they were, and the rope falls down from the ceiling and slithers to him like a snake, and crawls up his leg onto his back and then coils around his upper arm where it stays as he walks into the depths of the library, shaking his head. What are you looking for in the library, or in the local history section?
Anything abnormal, anything mystic, fantasy, kind of not typical American history. And just to kind of gain a general idea of what the purpose, like why this town was built here specifically.
Okay, then I'm gonna need you to roll plus intelligence.
Fair enough.
10, which is a partial success. Okay, you may ask me. You had a bunch of questions you just had, or things that you were looking for. Ask me about one of them.
Why was Overunder built on this location?
Overunder was built here when a vein of copper was discovered in hills nearby, directly next to a vein of silver. Shortly thereafter, a vein of gold was also discovered. And it's surprising to you how small this town has been, or rather how small this town is, due to several veins of like rare materials being here. But you discover that the town itself it's fairly new. It's not that old, and according to multiple corroborating records, there was a huge and I mean huge, fire that consumed a large portion of the town and destroyed several buildings beyond repair and left dozens and dozens scarred and damaged. And only recently have they been able to finish putting the town back together to resemble something of its former glory. All right, do you continue researching, or do you
Yes.
exfil? Okay, then let's bounce over to the tap house really quickly. Hey folks, good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what it is for you. I am Sigma. I am your host and the dungeon master for the Tavern. And so welcome to the shenanigans. It is good to have you here. And just wanted to give you some quick notes from us to you, so that way you can be in the loop. Did you know that we keep in contact with you guys through Twitter and Facebook? That's like our primary medium. And we also have a business email, but that's pretty much for business inquiries. So through Twitter and Facebook, you guys can get in touch with us. You guys can keep up with us, and we will share with you guys everything that's going on. And we will we'll keep you up to date if anything changes. Let's say the schedule changes. Let's say somebody's sick and we're not able to record one day. And by record, I mean live stream. Then we'll let you know, so that way you guys can say, oh, I don't have to do anything that day, and I can just move on with my life. Or not move on with your life, but come back the next week. So speaking of live stream, we live stream every Saturday evening. Friday potentially, Saturday definitely, and Sunday potentially. But right now, every Saturday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, that's the Overunder campaign. And then every Tuesday, we have an Overunder episode going live on the YouTube and streaming platforms. And then we also have Star Wars content uploaded to the YouTube exclusively every Wednesday. So if you guys want to listen to some awesome Star Wars related content, you should totally check out our YouTube. Then if you guys feel the inclination to support us, we have a Patreon and we have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you guys want to support us that way, it would be much appreciated, as we are a small channel and we are trying to grow into something that can share stories with the whole world. So, And then lastly, we have some Twitch stuff going on. While we stream the campaign every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we also stream a game called Tailspire every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Those are prone to internet interference, however, as of late. So not sure how long those are going to be continuing on. But for the time being, until everything dies, we will be building the town of Overunder in Tailspire. So you guys should check out those streams because it's pretty cool what Tailspire can do. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming back and listening to the recording. Again, highly recommend that you come just catch the antics live every Saturday night on Twitch, because that tends to just be a blast. I always have a lot of fun recording with those guys, and I have fun editing. So definitely check them out. And then, check out the things. And, oh, right. By the way, did you know that podcasting can be easy? I almost forgot to tell you, just because it's so easy. And Buzzsprout makes it easy. So Buzzsprout is a website that hosts your RSS feed, which is a line of code that is given out to podcast hosts. So this little line of code goes out to Spotify, for example, and Spotify goes, oh, this is a line of code. And it follows the line of code like a little ball of string or a trail of breadcrumbs, if you will, and it goes all the way back to this website. The website goes, here, we have a new episode for you. And the podcast goes, oh, thank you. Takes it back to its platform. And then bada bing, bada boom. Super simple, super easy. It's literally, it almost fits the definition of plug and play. It's so easy. So if you ever consider starting your own podcast, I highly recommend you go check out Buzzsprout through the link in the description below. It lets them know that we sent you, they get supported, and you get to start your own podcast for, well, through some very easy steps. And that is all from us, folks. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful weekend and or weekday or whenever you guys are listening to this. And yeah, that's about it. So you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh
So,
no.
oh yes. So, I mean, I guess I'll just put it straightforward. Joseph, your hand just vroom, completely just phases through Edward as you like try to grab onto his shoulder, and your hand comes back to you, and so you've got one hand on your revolver. I don't know if you said you drew it or not. I think you.
Nah, it's still in the holster.
But your hand was on it, getting ready to, and your hand just vroom. So that happened. I know Marcus and Thomas were both standing there. Thomas, are you so drunk that you think you're just seeing things because of the alcohol, or do you think that the alcohol is...
No, he knows what he just saw. He just doesn't care.
Marcus, you see this happen. Do you know that specters exist, or is it just like...
I would say yeah. It makes sense with everything he's done.
Yeah, I suppose it does. So in that case, it doesn't surprise you, but it sure surprises Joseph.
Mind you, Marcus also heard the entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joseph?
He's going to lick his lips a little, bring his hand back towards Edward and go boop, 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 real quick.
Are you just sticking your hand in me?
Into your shoulder. He's still going for the shoulder. It hasn't caught up to him yet. He thinks if he puts his hand in your shoulder, it'll catch eventually.
Edwards just kind of looks at him and goes, that's... It feels kind of rude that you're just doing this to me. I'm gonna request that you stop.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going to reach down into his bag, down at the seat next to him that he set down when he walked in. He's gonna rummage around a little till he gets out like a little leather-bound book. Looks a little worn, a little old, with a little golden lowercase t on the front. With a small family Bible in his hand, he's going to attempt to smack Edward in the face with it.
I mean, that's... I mean...
A reasonable reaction.
I thought you were gonna try and exercise him.
Yeah, that's...
He's not a Catholic priest. He can't do that.
I was waiting for you to
Practical
start
Bibles, though.
bringing out Psalm 16.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Edward? Do you think that it hits you?
Well, he's neither holy nor unholy, so technically, because of his origin, he's neither. So...
True. Like, you're not a demonic spirit, so...
Nope.
Yeah, sorry, bud. You're it just phases right through him.
Okay. Okay, that one didn't quite work.
Are you okay, sir?
He's putting the Bible back in. He's going to look over the bartender. Excuse me, barkeep. Could you help me out for a minute?
He looks at you and then looks at Edward and then looks back at you and he says, "Sure. What seems to be the problem?"
Just wanna check something real quick. He's gonna stick his whole arm into Edward's head.
I don't.
Edward just, once it's happened, he's just gonna lean his head to the side so it's not in his head.
Oh, barkeep, what did you just serve me?
A regular beer. He looks at Thomas and he says, "That is a regular beer, right?"
Yeah, sure, I guess. A
It
little
is.
watered down, but yeah, it's a beer.
Oh,
The barkeep walks around to the two of you, and he's standing. He's actually about as tall as you, Joseph, and he's looking at you concerned. He's like, I don't recollect I've ever seen a problem like this. And he looks at you as you wave your arm through his through Edward's shoulder again. Hold on, Edward.
Edward at that is like, sir, please stop sticking your limbs in me. It just ain't right.
I will say that Marcus is trying to not lose it. He knows exactly what's going on, but this is funny as shit to him.
Oh, it's about to get.
he's got to be some kind of devil or something, right? A spookum or something.
Well, you see, son. You see, it's not according to what the pastor around here has been saying on his services Sunday. That sometimes spirits get sent and they aren't. Sometimes they aren't. They're just stuck here, and they're not bad and they're not good, and it's just kind of here for some reason. And unfortunately, sometimes they get mistaken as bad people. But I assure you, and he places his hand on Edward's shoulder and kind of pushes down on his shoulder, and Edward, you feel your shoulder being moved. And he says, I assure you that everything is okay, and you're probably just having a real bad day. You look like you walked most of the way into town. Are you sure you didn't get like heat stroke or something and you're having a bad time?
Joseph is going to quietly sit back down and put the bottle of beer up to his forehead. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? It's been a long day, right? Sure, the pastor knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
It's been a long day.
let's get you to your room, sir. Why don't you just go ahead and stand on up?
Right.
And he sets his hand, and you feel his hand on your shoulder, and he kind of stands you up, and he motions over to kind of a burly dude over in the corner who looks like he's playing solitaire by the looks of it, and he stands up and he comes over and he's the barkeep says, "Please escort this fine gentleman to his room. I believe he's in 2D,
sir."
Yeah, just escort him up there." And the guy nods and he walks you up there. Okay.
As Joseph has walked away, Marcus is just going to speak up. Not everything they teach you in church is true, young man.
the bartender's gonna glare at you and tell you, like, mouth to shut up.
Joseph
Edward-
is 5 different types of out of it. This man's
Edward
he's
is
tunnel
just
visioned right now. He's gone.
He's out.
Edward.
He is out. He is in the trash can, rolling away.
He's ready for bed.
Yep.
He thinks it's
Sigma.
time to go to bed.
Yes.
So Edward realizes what the pressing down on his shoulder means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Edward's gonna look over at the bartender and in a low whisper go, "So, are you still down for? Are you down to talk about Xavier now, or?"
He looks at you and says, "Absolutely the hell not." And he walks back behind the bar. He walks back behind the bar, but instead of walking back behind the bar, he like kind of looks around and he just walks right through it and stands behind it again and continues fixing drinks.
Edward just nods. Edward then is like, "Is there any way I can persuade you to?"
He looks at you and cocks an eye and says, "Not at this current moment, no. I got other things that I need to worry about, and as far as I know, you're here hunting."
For once, I'm not the biggest freak in town.
He looks at you and he says, "You would be surprised, my good sir. You would be surprised how many freaks there are roaming around on these streets." And 2 more people walk in. He looks up at them and smiles and continues on with his bartender duties. Let's page back to... Let's see. Nope, he's not back yet. Let's page back to Cleric. You spent a little bit more time researching the town. Go ahead and ask me another question about town, unless you changed topics. So you've been doing a lot of history research. Is that still what you're on, or are you kind of bouncing around a bunch of different things?
I'm still in history.
Okie dokie. So ask me another question, my good sir.
Should I roll or ask a question?
Go ahead and roll intelligence.
1 better than last time.
That's an 11, folks, an 11. So you may ask me another question.
What, if any, abnormal history does Overunder have? Abnormal/paranormal.
You are continuing to read through the different history books that are circulating, or not circulating, that include the town in their pages, and you notice that there is some inconsistencies, namely the time that the fire occurred. And you look at different maps of the town and you notice that buildings, even buildings that weren't affected by the fire supposedly, are either slightly or drastically shifted. But it's not enough to determine whether or not that's like paranormal or supernatural or anything in origin. But as you kind of have these things set out in front of you and you're looking at all the inconsistencies, you hear a couple of footsteps behind you and then the creak of somebody leaning on a bookcase. It's the kid librarian leaning on the bookshelf. "Can I help you find anything, mister? You look kind of perplexed."
And how exactly would you know that one?
"What, you're perplexed?"
Duh.
"Well, you see, the more, in my experience, the more books that somebody pulls out and opens and puts in front of them and looks between frantically, or not frantically, I should say you're not frantic, mister. The more material that somebody puts in front of them to compare, the more they're trying to figure out. It's an increase in information to address an increasingly big problem. Or an increasingly big question, rather. And you're trying to find an answer through an increasingly large repository of information.
That is correct.
He nods and says, "So, is there anything that I can help you locate as your friendly librarian?"
I need maps, either of surrounding areas or of town, before and after fire if possible.
He leans off the bookcase and takes a couple steps one way and a couple steps another way, and then walks back to his place of leaning, and he says, "You have them all. They're all sitting on the table in front of you."
This is it?
He nods and says, "Unfortunately, the library was, as I'm sure you've read, within the general vicinity of the flames, and while a great majority of the library was able to be salvaged, the fire did get in here before we were able to start salvaging books. So town records were one of the first things to be evacuated, and then copies of other things that we could replace were to follow, but what you have right there is what remains of the town records."
Do you have mining records?
He sticks out his chin a little bit and rubs his nose and says, "Mining records." And he walks down another aisle, and you hear a rustle of books, and he says, "Nope, you got that one too. It's should be on towards the back in the local maps one that you have. I forget the name of it exactly. It's been a while since I've looked at that one." And sure enough, you do have a book. It's one of the ones that has a before and after map of the fire, and you page to the back of it, and it has maps of the surrounding countryside, and it has maps of different mines, silver, gold, and copper, and you see that all of them are fairly small. None of them are extremely large or extensive.
Interesting.
You seem awfully interested in this town's history, mister. Mind if I ask why?
An old friend went missing. I'm trying to find him.
He starts laughing. He says, "Lord have mercy. Xavier picks the weirdest people to be friends with." He knocks on the table that you're sitting at, and he says, "I've been waiting for you people. I just wonder who else is here. Come on."
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow him wherever he wants to go.
Say what?
I'm gonna follow him wherever he wants to go.
Cool. He said, as you start to stand up, he looks back at you and he says, "I expect you to put all those back at some point." And you proceed deeper into the library. Let's bounce back to Edward, Marcus, and Thomas before we delve too deep into what I almost called you Ghoul, and I would have taken a drink before we get into what Cleric's doing. So at this point, it is late. Marcus, Edward, and Thomas, this is shortly after Joseph was escorted to bed. What do you do? Like, do you try to find some place to sleep for the night as well, or I mean, Edward, I know you don't necessarily need sleep, but
Yeah, Edward's kind of looking at the bartender and going, "Is it alright if I just stay out here the night?"
he nods at you and says, "Just make sure you keep your concentration and not well, let's put it this way. I've known some spirited folks to kind of come and go if they're not paying attention to what they're doing. You know what I mean?"
Edward looks like he doesn't know what he means.
The bartender kind of looks at people have kind of left for the night. There are only a few customers and they're busy playing cards, and he looks at you and you see him go transparent for a little bit, and not like see-through, but like his opacity lowers and you can see through him a little bit more, and then he becomes solid again. It's just really quickly, but he
Edward clues in immediately.
yeah, and he nods. And he's like, "Make sure you mind yourself." And he gestures to a table over in the corner and indicates that you can set up shop there if you so desire. He looks at Thomas and he says, "Can I get you another one? Or will that be all for the evening?"
What time is it roughly?
Roughly getting towards midnight.
He'll go to bed.
Okie dokie.
Doesn't really have much else to gain from you.
All right then. We'll talk to Walker. So as you passed by the library on your way to the castle, you noticed a bright flash of light come from inside. It was just ever so quick, but that's what your wisdom perception check picked up on, is a flash of light from inside the library as you make your way towards the castle.
Okay.
Walker, do you...
I am back.
Welcome back. 1 second. Walker, do you investigate
continue
the light
moving.
or just continue on your way? Okay, cool. Marcus, what do you do for the evening? Do you get yourself a room? What do you do?
He'll get himself a room just for now. Does it actually say on the wanted poster what Xavier did?
No, it does not.
And the bartender doesn't want to tell us?
Not necessarily because you've been cantankerous about it, but more along the lines because he just doesn't want to talk about it for undisclosed reasons. So you mentioned that you want to get a room, and he looks at you and says, will you be getting the $5 package for $5 a night that includes extra amenities included with the establishment, or will you just be staying with us for using a $1 a night charge?
So there's the $5 option, which is for several nights. And then there's the $1 option, which is just a single night, correct?
Correct.
He'll take the $5 one. Seems he's going to be here for a while.
Alrighty, go ahead and remove $5 from your inventory.
Oh no.
Alrighty.
Joseph still in the mind link. The conference call. Oh boy.
Oh yay. Let's bounce back to Cleric. Cleric, you follow the kid through the library until you reach the back of the library that has a large stone fireplace built into it and a chimney that runs up to the roof. The only thing is that you don't recollect seeing a chimney on the outside of the library. He walks up to it and he grabs hold of a candlestick that is sitting on top of the mantelpiece, and he mutters an incantation under his breath and moves his other hand in a series of sharp motions, and he also moves his foot slowly in a sideways motion in a very weird, like you've never seen anything like this type manner, but I mean, you can't see it, but his eyes glow a little bit, and you watch, quote, quote, as he stops, as the grate of the fireplace, that looks kind of like a little iron fence, slides into the floor, and the bottom of the fireplace caves away into a staircase, and he motions to you, And you follow him through, ducking into the fireplace and going down a small spiral staircase for just a few seconds. And then you step out into a large open room. And immediately you can tell that this place is lined with bookcases and display cases and tables, with tables every once in a while with books out on top of them and chairs. And immediately you hear almost an even younger voice as he says, well, so welcome to the cave, I guess. And you hear a squeaking noise from overhead, and he says, I guess you could call it the Bat Cave. And he takes a couple more steps in, and you follow him into a secret underground library.